Everybody, welcome to Leon's Chainsaw Parts and Repair. We're looking at a ProMac 1010S that Tim sent me. Leon, we put a new starter rope in the 1010S Super. We used a homemade pin and metal pulley. I don't know if it'll work properly. Yeah, it'll work. Rope's a little short, but that's okay. There we go. Has some good sounding compression. Curious why the drive side is so bloody loud over here. I wonder if there are any clutch issues. I need to get this cover out of the way to begin with, because we're going to have to get into the engine a little bit. Well, not the engine, but the oil tank specifically. There we go. Those pawls are good and loud. A little bit of slop will grease that bearing. Needs a new sprocket rim, but let me continue the note. Saw had oil all over the motor fins and saw in package. I put a washer and that bolt. Maybe oiler needs a new gasket or bolt turned in so it don't oil so heavy. Possibly. They're supposed to put out a lot of oil because they're tuned for the biggest bar. Anything else it may need? We pulled the muffler and piston, look good. Don't trust me, I'm not a mechanic. Well, I'm going to trust you on that one. That's excellent compression. Hopefully you can get a carb rebuild kit and see why it oils so heavy. Thanks, Tim. So that's why I say we're going to get in here. We're going to play with the oiler a little bit. We can turn that down a little bit. I don't want to starve it though. But the bolt, God, I don't F that decal up anymore. There we go. If that was floating in the tank, you know what that is, folks? That is the screw. It's supposed to come up through the bottom of the tank. Sorry, I know that was out of frame. Comes up through the bottom of the tank into the bottom of the fuel tank right here. So we'll have to pop that cover off, put it in there. Somebody's tried sealing this with some hard set Formagasket. Good luck, doesn't work. You can use MotoSeal. This stuff, I don't think so. And it looks like we're already... Oh yeah, there's still some oil residue leaking somewhere. That's funny. So anyway, I'm going to get that all cleaned up. We'll go through that. Pretty clean saw, fairly low hours. I don't see evidence of the fuel tank leaking yet, and it looks like a new rubber gasket might be in there. But if there isn't, we're going to be doing something with that too. Carb kit ought to be a standard SDC, and it is. And somebody has replace that hose at some point. That hose is rock hard, so we'll get that off and replace it. Shouldn't be too much work to get this thing going. Not too much at all. Start with the problem that we know we have. I've put new gaskets on these and had them leak. Yeah, that kind of hard set stuff just doesn't work. And like I said, see that hole right there? That's where that Allen head screw ought to be going up in there. So I'm not going to do all this on camera. I'm going to go ahead and get that back up there. See if I can find a spec for how many turns open this should be. And if I can't, I'm just going to maybe give it a 1-turn close. Yeah. and use some actual moto seal on this and let it set up for a day before putting any oil to it, and that should get the tank sealed up really nicely. That'll give me time to replace the fuel hose, rebuild the carb, and hopefully we'll come back on a test run. Okay, so I obviously still can't put oil in the tank because it's the same day, but got that sealed up with some Moto Seal. Turned the screw down a little bit. It was interesting to get that front mount screw up through there. I actually had to loosen up all these other mounting bolts and get the starter off so that this tank would shift, otherwise it would cross thread. So that tells me it rattled out and took a set, well, pretty much 5 seconds into running it, so I'm going to say the factory probably forgot to torque it down. Yeah, crap happens. Replace the fuel hose. Carb was fine. There was nothing wrong in there. That kit looked as new as the day it rolled out of the factory. There, the gaskets and diaphragms. So I just checked it, left it. It was clean. I'm going to put a different rope on this. That is way too short. At that pole, it's only getting out to, 2.5 feet at best, and it's ripping the saw out of your hands if you start it like this. Maybe if you were doing a drop like that, you'd be alright, and it's still purging out the oil that was left in the oiler. These do put out a lot of oil, and that's just the way it is. They're designed to oil up to a 28-inch bar, and they'll do it, so we'll see. I think we're good. Like I say, I need to pop the clutch off and replace that rim, and yeah, I'll get some oil in it in a day or so and do one more test fire, but basically I think this thing's good to go.